everybody come on in because we are here for Ready to Love, Make a Move. We on season 1 and we on episode 2, and it heated up, y'all. It heated up this episode, and we knew this was gonna come. We knew the moment was gonna come when Zadia and Shareese were gonna get into it. Is anybody out here still wondering why Shareese and Zadia are single? I know you're not. I know there's not a soul out here who is wondering why Zadia and Shareese are still single. But we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about all their bad dating skills, their bad communication skills, everything. The only people I'm not too disappointed in is Vernisha. I'm loving me some Vernisha. I am really loving me some Vernisha. We're going to talk about that. I'm going to have a few tips for Ashley. I'm going to have a few tips for Ashley as well. But let's get into this. So first of all, the matchmaker, Tamika, comes on in. She says, hey, you know what? This time I'm going to pick your dates. I'm going to pick your dates. And I think she went off of what she saw these ladies pick in the first episode. So I think that gave Tamika a little bit of an idea of what these women like, physically. What type of physical features do they like? So that way when she picks them in, she kind of was in the ballpark of what they might like, where they wouldn't just automatically eliminate the men just because they didn't like what they look like. So in that respect, I think she picked men good enough that, it could make it through a first date. I'm not for sure about that Vernisha date, though. That basketball player that's never been in a relationship, we're going to get to that, too. I don't think that was a good pick for her. But we first were up to bat with Zadia and this man named Cameron. He's got the dreads or the twist or whatever we call them these days, the natural look. We know that's what Zadia is into. Zadia loves that all natural man, maybe a man that don't even wear no deodorant or something. I think Zadia likes that. She likes the all natural man. Ain't no problem with it. I thought he was a good looking man. Looks like he got a good head on his shoulder. He said he's a doctor or a pharmacist. What else did he say? He's a photographer. He runs a team of photographers. So he passes the checklist of at least he got a job, at least he got a check coming in, at least he's entrepreneurial, which Zadia likes. But I'm going to tell you this about Zadia. Zadia got some bad dating skills. Horrible. I know Zadia wants us all to think that she's like this really confident woman. But the truth of the matter is that Zadia is actually very insecure because that's the way she dates. She comes off like she's confident, she's aggressive, she's assertive, she's blunt. It can come off as rude. But that assertiveness and aggressiveness, I know she thinks that's a display of her confidence when she's talking to men. But actually what she's displaying in my eyes is she's actually she's not confident. She interrupts the process. So what she does is because she isn't secure where she isn't willing to wait and let the man come to her. What Zadia does is she interrupts the dating process. She starts to pursue the man. She starts to get aggressive and assertive. And honestly, it comes off a little bit thirsty. That's kind of what happened when Zadia ended up calling Cameron back and hitting him up after the date and then asking him to come on over and pick her up so they could go out. That's a part of that little bit of she wasn't confident to sit back and see if Cameron would just call her. She interrupted the waiting process. She got too antsy. She couldn't wait. She wasn't confident that he liked her enough that he would call her. That's insecurity. And then what that does is that makes her become assertive. That makes her become aggressive. But all that aggressiveness and assertiveness that Zadia has is really just insecurity. And you could see how she let Sharice get at her. Because when Sharice was starting to talk about Cameron later on in the show and talk about, oh yeah, we were talking about entrepreneurial things. He was asking me for advice about running the business. You saw Zadia get jealous. She got jealous of the fact that Sharice was talking to Cameron. Now we know Sharice was doing it for all other kind of reasons, but you saw that Zadia got so uncomfortable with it to the point that she even went back and tried to chastise Cameron over it. It's insecurity. She can't rest in her confidence that she's a good catch and this guy is going to want to call her. So all this assertiveness and aggressiveness that Zadia presents, I know she wants me to think and other people to think that she's this confident woman, and actually it's not. She's very unconfident. I've already peeped her game. I peeped her game in Ready to Love. She had the same type of game plan in Ready to Love when she got up in the face of, what was that man's name? But really what she has is she is actually insecure. Her whole relationship with Naeem after Ready to Love was to prove to all of us that she could get a man. It came from her. It's insecurity. I don't know how many kind of ways I need to say it. It's insecurity, and I see it written all over Zadia. And the truth about it is really too bad because they had a lot of things in common from the gate. Tamika did a good job at giving her a man where they had some foundational things in common. They went to the same school. They're both entrepreneurs. They had what other kind of stuff that they had in common? It was just a lot of things, and it was so interesting at the date. Zadia talks about how she was flirting with Cameron. I didn't see no flirting. See, Zadia thinks that flirting is all this assertiveness and asking him a bunch of questions and peppering him with questions. That's not flirting, Zadia. That's not what flirting looks like. I don't even think Zadia knows what flirting looks like because Zadia doesn't know how to sit back. Flirting is when you draw the man in. See, flirting is when you can do little gestures, but you sit back and you draw the man in and attracts the man to you. That's flirting. That means you don't have to do much. Little bitty things you do, the flirting that you do actually makes the man take the step towards you. He ends up doing all the work. That is the secret sauce of flirting. The secret sauce of flirting is that you don't have to do all the work. The secret sauce of flirting is you only have to do a little bit, just enough to lure the man in so that he actually does all the work. Zadia doesn't flirt. What Zadia does is she commands, she instructs, she bosses people around. That's not flirting, Zadia. Zadia really thinks that she has a good flirting game, and it's actually one of the worst flirting games I've ever seen. It's so crazy. And then when she's in conversation with the man, she leads with her business side. She doesn't lead with her more feminine and soft side, the more part of her heart. It doesn't matter if he as a man is talking about his business side because that's what men like to do. Men love to talk about their accomplishments, their businesses. But when it comes time for you ladies to talk, you shouldn't be always leading with your business side. That may be what he leads with, but that doesn't mean that you have to still stay in that same conversation with him. When you start talking about things about yourself, your conversation should be more about your emotions, things that make you a nice woman, more of those softer qualities around you. The man is always going to lead with what he does, what he accomplishes, his job, his success, his accolades. That's what he's going to do. But you don't have to follow up with that same conversation and have that same conversation back with him. But that's what Zadia does. Zadia wants to go toe to toe because what Zadia is Zadia is insecure. Zadia wants that man to know that she's just as successful as him because she makes just as much money as him, that she's just as ambitious as him. Well, you know what? Men don't want women who sit around and don't do nothing. They really don't. But they also want a woman who knows how to sit back and enjoy time. I know Zadia started talking about I'm starting to learn how to balance work and time. Well, those are the sorts of things that she should lead with. She should talk about more. Not talk about how she's getting to that point, but talk about how she does that. Compliment on his success. Compliment him on the job he does. But what would be your contribution to him? Men who are successful and have lots of businesses and make money, they're not necessarily looking for you to give them money. What they're looking for you to do is, will you be that woman in my life that teaches me how to relax? I'm so entrenched in the business world. I'm making money. I'm grinding out here in the world. What you would want to talk about, Zadia, would be how you would offer something different to this man's life. Not make him work more, not talking about how you love money, but maybe talk about how stepping into his life, you would offer him that space to relax, have a good time, learn how to enjoy his money, learn how to enjoy the fruits of his labor, bring in a new dimension to his life. When people are talking about their lives are one-dimensional, they work too much, why do they need you to pile on and talking about the same dimension? Nah, come in and offer something fresh, something new. But Zadia, because she isn't secure in who she is, she's really not secure in what her real value could be to a man. What Zadia does is Zadia actually goes toe-to-toe with the man. She kind of like puts herself on the same level in terms of work level, same of grind level. So it becomes more business-like. She's actually not flirting. She's actually not drawing the man in. Actually, what she's doing is she's chasing the man. That's what ended up happening with Zadia after the date, because then she couldn't sit at home and just wait for that man to call and be confident that he's going to call because she knows she was a good catch. She had to chase that man. She had to run him down. Not only did she have to run him down for a telephone conversation, she really wanted him to be able to come over. That's when she approached Sharice about, is it okay if people come over? Because that's what she wanted to. She wanted that man to be able to come over. But when Sharice said, no, I'm not comfortable with strange men being in this house, maybe Sharice is saying, I want to be able to walk around in my pajamas when I'm at home. I want to relax. I don't have no problem with what Sharice said because she doesn't know these men. I have no problem with it. Some people don't have a problem. Me personally, if I were in the house with a bunch of women and they ended up having one of their male suitors over, I probably would just go to my room and lock the door. But we know who Sharice is. Sharice wasn't having it. But nonetheless, it was nice that Zadia did ask her. But after Sharice said, no, I'm not into that, I don't want that, then what Zadia did in her thirstiness, she decides she's going to hunt the man down. She's going to call him, tell him to come pick her up, and then go out with the man. And hang out with the man all night long. Jeez Louise, can the man breathe, Zadia? Do you really have to chase him down like this? This is so thirsty looking. So thirsty looking. I don't know whether or not they slept together or not. She says they didn't. He says they just sat up and talked all night long to the wee hours of the morning. I don't know, but it just looks horrible, horrible, horrible. If I'm that man, I'm on the other end of a woman that has done all of this. I'm right now thinking to myself, dang, I ain't got to do much. I don't have to do much at all because at this point in time, this woman is chasing me. At this point in time, this woman is chasing me so I could fall all the way back. I don't have to do too much more to impress her because she wants me, and she wants me bad. She wants me so bad that the minute I left her, she was picking up that phone and calling me. She wants me so bad that even when the woman in the house said she didn't want any male people to come over, this woman wanted me to come still pick me up. She wants me so bad that even when I came to pick her up, I couldn't even get rid of her until 7 o'clock in the morning. This is not the way a confident woman moves when she's dating a man. This is the way an insecure, unconfident woman moves. A woman that is so afraid of whether this man will call her. A woman who is so afraid of what will happen next. She's got to interrupt the dating process and she's got to become more assertive because she is so uncomfortable in the space of waiting. Well, let me tell you something. If you're going to learn how to flirt, you better learn how to wait because that's what flirting is. Flirting is flirting in the waiting, the results of your flirting to pay off. Waiting, standing over here, waiting for the man to approach you. And Zadia is impatient. She's impatient because she's also insecure. I've peeped Zadia. All this aggressiveness and assertiveness and all this bucking up she does all the time is just a cover up for all her insecurities when it comes to dating. She may be secure in her business world. She may have confidence in that world. She may have confidence in other worlds. But when it comes to dating, Zadia is very, very insecure. And another reason I know she's insecure because she didn't stand on her shit. When she was out with that man all night long, I don't understand why she lied. Why did she lie? Why did she have to pretend like she just went out for a morning jog? Why did she stand on her shit? And why didn't she just say, yeah, I did it? You know why? Because she was embarrassed. She was embarrassed that she met a man for one night and she went out with him. She was embarrassed. She didn't want to tell Tamika. That's who she didn't want to tell. That's who she didn't want to tell. And of all the people to call when she got back, she called Sharice to open up the door. Why did she call Sharice? Did she call everybody else and they didn't answer their phone? Did she call Ashley and Ashley didn't answer her phone? Did she call Vernisha and Vernisha didn't answer her phone at 7 o'clock in the morning? Why all of a sudden is she calling Sharice, the meanest girl in the house, to come open the door for her? Did she do it because she wanted Sharice to know that she had hung out with Cameron? Did she do it because she was trying to get back at Sharice, to make Sharice get up and open the door because Sharice was the one that didn't want the man to come over? I don't know what her reasoning was, but I know it's a reasoning for it in Zadia's world because Zadia is also a mean girl. Zadia does things to get back at people. That's what she does. She does things to get back at people. So I suspect her picking Sharice out of all the women to come open up the door at 7 o'clock in the morning was a way of her feeling as if she's going to get under Sharice's skin. Maybe it was a way for her to show Sharice, look, I've been hanging out with this man all night long. He wants me. Trying to pretend like it was the man who wanted to be with Zadia when we know it was Zadia chasing him down. Or maybe she was trying to get back at Sharice because Sharice didn't want that man hanging around the house. Because Sharice says, I want to be comfortable in my own skin in my pajamas walking around here. And I don't want to come out of my room in pajamas or something, or my hair in a hair bonnet, and you got a man sitting in the living room. I don't know. But when Sharice went over there, started digging for the truth, talking to Cameron, talking about, I need to know what the real deal is. Was Zadia really with you? and she went over there trying to be coy and sly, and the way she was getting that information out of him to get to the truth. Zadia was not having it one bit. And do you remember when she went over there and told Cameron, hey, can I talk to you for a minute? And they were walking into the house, and Cameron had his hand on her back, and she go, why you got your hand on me? Zadia don't know how to flirt. Zadia don't have no qualities to her that draw men in. All Zadia's techniques push men away. They push men away, and then what she does is she goes and chases the men. She pushes the men away with her words and her actions, and then when they pull back or they don't go away or they don't come towards her, then she runs after them and chases them, and then she chastises them and reprimands them. Because then she went up in there talking to Cameron, talking about, I need to know about your past dating history. Girl, where are you coming from? You all out of pocket with this. Where is all this aggressiveness and assertiveness? You know why? Because Zadia got insecure. She got insecure when Cameron was talking to Sharice. She got insecure. And what does Zadia do every time Zadia is insecure? She becomes aggressive. She becomes aggressive. And that's what she did. When she saw Cameron talking to Sharice, she said already, I didn't like it. I want to put a stop to it. And I'm going to send this man home. She goes, it's time to send somebody home. I was like, why are you going to send him home, Zadia? You ain't going to have nobody in your bucket, because we already knew Jabari wasn't checking for Zadia. Jabari don't even like Zadia. So if she sends Cameron home, who is she going to be with? But yet again, here is Zadia. She talks all bad, tough, but then what did she do? She goes over and runs after the dude. So she pulls him away and said, why are you touching me? Why are you touching my back? I need to know about your past dating history, because now she's insecure. Now she wondering, oh, did Sharice get in his head? Is Sharice trying to turn him against me? She's getting insecure. So now she's got to dig and figure out, are you a playboy? Are you this? She all on top of him. She all, grilling him and everything. But Cameron said it just right. My past relationships are for me to learn, not necessarily for you to learn. I don't know necessarily if I agree with that, Cameron. But in that moment in time, I do agree with Zadia was out of pocket. I do agree with it was the wrong place, the wrong time for Zadia to start drilling and grilling him about his exes, because I know what Zadia was doing. She was trying to soothe her own insecurities. She was trying to be soothed that, oh, I just want to make sure you're a good guy, because what Zadia was feeling on the inside was she was feeling unsafe and she was feeling insecure. And she needed this man to reassure her that he's a good guy. And then next thing you know, she goes, oh, well, I'm going to keep you. Well, I know you're going to keep him, Zadia. Like I said, Zadia got the same old technique. She barks back, pushes men away. And then when they run away or look like they're about to get away from her, then she chases after them and tries to pull them back. I can't stand her dating technique. And talking about bad dating techniques and dating skill, what the hell is going on with Sharice? How can Sharice be out with a 51-year-old man and be wondering why he got a marriage and got an ex-marriage and 4 kids? What does Sharice think people are doing with their lives, all their lives, for 50-something years? 50-something years, and you're shocked by a man that has kids and has been married? Sharice gonna be alone. Sharice is gonna be alone for the rest of her life. I don't know. I think Sharice doesn't realize how old she is. Does Sharice not realize how old she is, or does Sharice not even understand how life works? People get married, people have kids, especially by the age of 50. I would be more concerned if he was 50 years old and didn't have no kids and never been married. I would be more concerned with that, let alone talking about a man that's 50-something years old with 4 kids and an ex-wife. Good Lord. What is she looking for? You know, she was so happy when he showed up in the suit. That's all she cared about, was a man in the suit. That's all she cared about. Then she found out that he was an attorney, and she was even more happy that he was an attorney. But then all of a sudden she turned off because he's been married before with 4 kids. Good Lord, what is wrong with Sharice? What is wrong with her? She was happy when they was at that dinner because he brought her some flowers he liked. He knew how to hold his fork right. He knew how to cut his meat right. Don't y'all hate when people be cutting their meat like this in a restaurant? At least he had a little bit of etiquette. He was eating that food. He was like, oh, this food is good. He was loving him some food. That's all he could talk about, was how good the food was. Sharice talking about she still want to have kids. She 42 years old. I think his youngest was 21. He ain't trying to have no more kids. This man is not trying to have no more kids at 52 years old with Sharice. Absolutely not. She can forget about it. Sharice gonna have a hard time finding the man she's looking for. She gonna have a hard time finding what she's looking for, because I don't think Sharice sees herself Not one bit. Sharice doesn't see herself at all, and she's out of touch with the world. She's out of touch with other people's lives. She's out of touch with what other people want for their lives. All she's concentrated on is what she wants, and what she wants is not in alignment, not one bit, with what's going on out here in the world. Besides Sharice's bad attitude, I'm going to get on her with another problem with her bad dating skills. I know she's going to sit up there and talk about how that man didn't have nothing to talk about, but I'm going to talk about Sharice, and I'm going to talk about the fact that she don't have no conversation skills. That's what I'm going to talk about when I talk about bad dating skills. Listen, you always going to come up against a man that may not be the best conversationalist, but what you need to be, if you want to date with a man, you better learn how to be one yourself. First of all, the key to good conversation is to learn how to have open-ended questions. Open-ended questions that get people to talk, get people to open up to you so that you'll be able to learn something about them. I'm not for these questions about what do you do for a living. And those are the kind of questions that Sharice, because all Sharice is doing is checking off the list. All she is doing is interviewing people because she wants a man that has money, a man that likes to travel, a man that likes to do this, a man that's going to provide for her whatever kind of way. What she's not looking to do is, well, what's she going to bring? And based on what this man didn't have nothing to talk about, she better bring some conversation. And it looks like she ain't got no conversation skills. All Sharice knows how to do is scream and yell and complain. That's it. Scream, yell, complain, and talk about other women. She got a man sitting in front of her, but she can't come up with nothing to talk about. She always seemed like she can come up with something to talk about with women, complain about women, talk about women. But when there's a man sitting in front of her, she ain't got no conversation. What about some open-ended questions, Sharice? What about saying, hey, you're a lawyer. What made you go into the field of law? What made you choose the field of law that you study, the field of law that you're in? There's a lot of disciplines in law. What made you pick that discipline? What made you pick intellectual law or corporate law or entertainment law or sports law, whatever he's doing? Why don't you ask a question that makes a man be able to say something more than a one-word answer? Talk about, what do you do for a living? I'm a lawyer. Ask an open-ended question. The reason why this man probably didn't talk to Sharice is because he probably looked at Sharice and said, she's not intellectually challenging to me. See, a lot of people who have intellect, they don't want to waste their time with people who don't know how to have no conversation. A lot of people, so sometimes men act as if they don't have no conversation, because really what they've done is they looked at you and they said, you ain't got none. They looked at you and said, you don't have none. Sometimes they're waiting to see what you got in your tank. And when you come on dates and you don't have no conversation except one word questions, what do you do for a living? Do you like the food? Give me more. Give me more. This is all you got. This is the depth of you. These are the depth of your questions. Why don't you have some stories with your questions? Why don't you say, oh, what are we eating? Maybe you're eating something. Maybe you're eating goat cheese. Maybe you're eating a salad. Maybe you could tell a story about, I remember the first time I had this salad. I was here. I did this. Maybe you can incorporate a story into your conversation, a story that maybe you asked that man for a story. Learn how to have some conversation. And for Sharice to be 42 years old, been out here dating for this long, and this is the extent of the way that she has a conversation with a grown-ass man that's 52 years old, I wouldn't have no conversation for her either. I would be just like that man, sitting there, cutting my food with a nice etiquette and eating my food, because I would say, I'm not going to do all the work. You do some work. You come up with some interesting conversations. I done planned the date, picked the restaurant, brought you some flowers. You can do something. Do something. And all that fighting with Zadia over don't be waking me up at 7 o'clock in the morning. Then put your phone on mute. Don't answer it. When you saw it ringing and you saw Zadia's name, or why answer it? Send it to voicemail. But don't be doing all that thing, yelling and screaming and stomping your feet, talking about don't be waking me up in the morning. Then don't go answer the door. That's what you do. Why are you looking for moments to fight? Why don't you run away from the fight? Why you run to the fight? If you sleep at 7 o'clock in the morning and you don't want to answer the door and she ringing your phone at 7 o'clock in the morning and you don't like her, then don't get up and answer the phone. Don't get up and answer the phone. Don't get up and answer the door. You run into the fight. You already know you mad. You already know you hot, but you getting up and answering the door and then yelling and screaming about it just so you can fight. Sharice likes to fight. Sharice looks for the fight. She don't run away from the fight. She looks for it. Just like she looking for a reason to be mad at this man because he got 4 kids and an ex-wife at 52 years old. Girl, get the hell out of here. She can be mad all she wants, but in the end, she chose the right man to move forward with. She knew she couldn't choose that other man the one with the colored vest on the back. She knew she couldn't choose him because she may be mad at 4 kids, but at least that youngest one was 22, 21 years old. She knew she wasn't going to deal with no 4-year-old. That other one had a 4-year-old, and she knew she wasn't dealing with that. So at least in the end, she made the right choice to choose Cameron over, not Cameron. At least in the end, she made the right choice to choose this man over that last man she had last week. But you know who I don't think made the right choice in the men? I don't think Ashley made the right choice in the men. I think she chose the wrong man to move forward. She chose that smooth talking man versus that other man, the school teacher, the assistant principal, and that's the man she should have chosen. They actually have more in common. They both were in education. They both had a passion for kids. But here I go again. All these women's insecurities come out because I could tell the choices they make are based on their insecurities. Ashley says she chose that other man. What was his name? Donald? Whatever his name was. She chose him because she felt like he was more into her. Nah, Ashley, he wasn't more into you. He was the one more faking for you. I really wish women would see these moves men make. A lot of men, when they're pursuing you real hard and heavy like that and telling you everything you want to hear, they're not really into you. They're just telling you everything you want to hear because they can see the thirstiness in you. They can see how you so hungry for the compliments. They know just what to feed you. But they're really not into you. That man is not in. I don't believe that man is into Ashley. And also we saw on the previews coming up, she was saying that man ain't even called her for 2 days. I could tell he ain't into Ashley. I don't believe it. Maybe some of y'all believe it. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think that man is into Ashley. I think this man is playing a role. I think this man just wants to be chosen. And I think the man that she went on the bike ride with would have been a better choice for her. She should have chosen him. That's who she should have chosen. But because he wasn't pursuing her as hard, he wasn't hot and heavy, she had a problem with it. She shouldn't have been worried about how heavy he was pursuing her, but he was still moving towards her. I think she chose the wrong man. I really do. And I'm going to give another tip to Ashley. Learn how to do something on a date. Why don't you know how to ride a bike at your grown age? I can't stand when women have come to be the age of 30-something years old and they don't have any type of outdoor activities that they know how to do. They can't swim. They can't ride a bike. They don't know how to go hiking. They don't know how to, I don't know, sometimes play anything, play tennis. They don't know nothing about sports, nothing. Listen, men like to be active. They like to do things outdoors. Every day can't be sitting at a table eating a fancy dinner and you getting flowers. That's boring. Men don't always want to have dates just for things you want to do. Go on a brunch. Learn how to do something. Now, if he was about to take her on an aggressive bike ride, I would have said that's too much for a first date. But this man had them riding a bike on a sidewalk. They weren't going to do too much. There ain't no sweat that had to be broken. There was not too much. All she really need to know how to do was to ride a bike. And Ashley was struggling with it. Ashley was struggling with it. There's some women that aren't even ready for dating. If you don't have any type of outside activities that you can do, you're not ready for dating. Period. I'm scared of heights. I'm scared of water. I can't run. I can't do this. I don't like athletics. Good Lord, women. Learn how to do something. Learn how to golf. Learn how to do something that men like to do. Otherwise, you don't make a good mate for men. You don't. Or when you get with the men, you guys not going to have no life together because you guys not going to have nothing to do in common. Men don't want to always sit around and go to brunch and eat and drink fancy wine. Men also like to be active. Learn how to do something. This is like Ready to Love back this past season. Janelle couldn't do nothing. No outdoor activity. She was always tired, out of breath. Women, improve your dating skills. Improve your versatility. Don't be 30-something years old and can't even go on a simple bike ride on the sidewalk. Give me a break. Actually chose the wrong man. She chose the wrong man. She should have chosen that assistant principal school teacher. She went for the flash. She went for the guy, the okie-doke guy, the one who lured her in with all the compliments because he sensed in her own insecurity. And that's what he did. He played to it. He played to her insecurity when the other man was willing to still come towards her, but was really trying to get to know her at a more decent pace. And Ashley she needed all the validation too soon, too quick. So she went for the wrong guy. Wrong choice, wrong choice, wrong choice. The only person I was happy about was Vernisha. The only person through this whole episode I was happy about with Vernisha. Vernisha absolutely chose the right man to go forward with of the two. She chose Jabari, and even Zadia knew right away that Jabari was way more into Vernisha than he was into her. And I believe they made the better match. I think there's similarities with their children. We know that Jabari is like a reformed playboy, but we're going to have to figure out if that's in the past. But Vernisha is asking all the right questions. She peeped right away that that man who was 38, who ain't never had no girlfriend since 2005, year 2000, Y2K, the millennium. He ain't had a girlfriend since, I don't know, what was going on in 2000, Y2K? Good Lord, what is he doing here? So I'm happy Vernisha chose Jabari to go forward. I feel like they do have more things in common. I believe that of the two, they chose the right one. I like the way that Vernisha is communicating on her date. She always looks good. And I know Jabari's in love with that body of Vernisha. I know he's in love with her. Well, I can see how Vernisha attracts the wrong man. Vernisha's body is the type of physique, the type of body that just attracts some of the wrong type of men. Because I'd imagine a lot of men lust after Vernisha, and it's got to be hard all the time, sifting through all the frogs to get to the prince. That's why a woman like Vernisha, who's got a dunky dunk like she got on the back of her, she got to really have the gift of discernment, because she's got to really be able to sift through all those frogs to make sure that the man who's approaching her is really sincere and genuine, and he's just not here to fill on her ass. But so far, so good, Vernisha. I'm happy about who she chose going forward. We'll see how this progresses going forward. But in the end, that's it, y'all. What do you guys think about these dates, these women's dating skills? Did they make the right choice in choosing the men they chose? What do you think about some of the things that I said? Love to talk to you. Drop down in the comments, and I will talk to you next week. Bye.